Hello, it's Richard Pears from FinextraTV. Delighted today to be joined by Robert Godfrey and Harry Grocott from Treeconomy. Hello, guys.
Yeah, very well, Richard. Good to see you and pleasure to be here.
Spread across the globe. Robert in Canada, Harry in the UK. We met through the Deloitte Gravity Challenge, but today we're talking about the work that you did joining in on the sustainablefinance.live workshops, and you were in workshop 3 and very much one of the key players in our examination of supply chain data and how we can evidence that much better and feed it into the sustainable finance landscape. Tell us, Robert, a little bit, so for people that missed it, who are Treeconomy, what do you do, what's the solution all about?
Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, we're a climate tech and carbon removal company, firstly. So we exist to help technology support finance in addressing the challenge of ecosystem restoration. And we recognize that the voluntary carbon market, other environmental markets, can make a major difference in closing that nature funding gap to address climate change, to address the ecological crisis, but they just don't work as well as they need to. And a lot of that comes down to a real scarcity of quality data to inform decisions around carbon offsetting, for example. So as a market, the voluntary offset market still relies really heavily on tape measures, for example, on manual verifications that maybe take place once every 5 or 10 years. And in a market that's going to grow from 1 billion this year to 50 billion and more per year from 2030, that's just not good enough. And so our focus as a company is basically on bringing data to nature-based voluntary offsetting using a combination of remote sensing, Earth observation technologies, AI, and blockchain to facilitate trust, rigor, precision, scalability, so that people, corporates targeting net zero emissions, for example, can actually offset credibly and with confidence, and with visibility over the value chain as carbon is passed around the world from a tree in the ground to an end buyer. It's vital that the data be there to confirm that climate impact, the climate impact being purported, is actually happening on the ground. So that's what Treeconomy exists to do: bring trust to a market that's lacked those things for a long time.
Yeah, and that was really important for us in this workshop, where we looked at the investor perspective of what they need, the investee perspective and the challenges that they've got. But talking about a solution, which is where we loaded you guys into the workshop, you laid down a nice vision of the future for people. Harry, how did you find it worked for you, telling your story, but also having the discussion over sort of an hour and 3/4 with a multidisciplinary group?
Yeah, it's a really interesting process, because one, it is quite long, and second, it's a big tent. So like you're saying, you've got lots of different perspectives from lots of different sectors. And I think that's really important, especially when we are building these solutions, because these solutions generally are systemic. Climate change sits at the sort of in between all of these different, that Venn diagram piece. The bit where everyone overlaps is climate change, because we're all within the same climate, so it's going to impact us, all of us, perhaps in different ways and in different time frames and to different extents. So I think it was a really useful workshop from that perspective, because we have obviously the overarching objective, which is set for the theme, and then you have all of these different perspectives that are coming in, but then often you too many cooks and all of those different analogies, and it can go in different directions. So really, for us, it was quite useful, because we could come in and say, look, this is what we're doing. This is the context around which we can wrap this larger discussion, and kind of help to drive that so that it's useful and not just a very sort of high level discussion, but actually can become quite practical. And then for us, very selfishly as a business, what that means is that obviously we worked with you through the Gravity Challenge to come up with this concept. We tested it for a couple of months. We've got it to a point now where we wish to scale it and test this in the real world. But we can also get the different inputs and opinions on that at the same time. So as a startup, we get this really fast and dynamic feedback from the session, but also hopefully from some of the discussions that will come post discussion now. So people who do watch that or see some of this online, we would always obviously be interested in hearing opinions and feedback as well, because there's a lot of different components that can be bolted onto what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of it. We don't want to just be sort of talking about the problems. We want to talk about solutions, but it's iterative, of course, as you say. And for people that didn't get to join in the sort of, couple of hours of content, the visual record will be available shortly, which is a mind map of the workshop, which captures the main points discussed and the flow diagram actually of the Treeconomy solution. So hopefully that also is a good jumping off point for people to engage with you and give you the feedback. So listen, 2022 is around the corner. Unbelievably, I'm saying that. It feels like only a little while ago I was saying 2021. What's in store for Treeconomy? Harry, let's go back to you for that first of all.
Sure. So we are, as Rob was saying, it's still a small but rapidly growing startup company. So we're just going through our first proper funding round, which is very exciting. So basically, that's giving us the oxygen as a business to go out and do what we want to do. Part of that is going to be fundamentally focused on projects. So how do we bring very sort of real world projects to life? And by projects, we mean nature-based. So afforestation, we're going to be looking at some peatland protection projects. And then really exciting from my perspective is some of the R&D work at the project level, which is specifically looking at rewilding. So how do we begin to quantify and create high quality cash flow from carbon removal within these project sites so that we can fund them and do more of them over time. And then really the second tranche of that is some of the technology as well. So really doubling down on the technology build out that we've tested so far, and I'm sure Rob can give an overview on that bit as well.
Yeah, very cool. Robert.
Yeah, no, happy to. I mean, for us, the technology really breaks down into two parts. I mean, it starts with our ability to use remote sensing technologies, as we've already done, to measure with confidence how much carbon is in a forest, and increasingly in other types of ecosystems and nature-based projects like naturally regenerating and rewilding landscapes. So continuing to validate our work there, confirming for ourselves that we can apply our remote sensing workflow to different types of projects, and then ensuring that we've actually got a digital hub to serve customers, be they corporate offset purchasers or natural capital investors, with that measurement, monitoring data, that project level insight. And so that's what we're calling our Sherwood platform, which is a place to gather that data together, share it with those people that need to see it, and hopefully facilitate the sale of high quality nature-based carbon credits too. So building that out, it's making great progress on that front, and we'll hope to have it operational and ready for some beta testing fairly soon. So 2022, I think, is going to be a big year for us.
Fantastic. Well, we've been talking about this stuff for a few years, and for people that are new to it and don't quite understand how it all hangs together, even people that are quite experienced, check out sustainablefinance.live, check out the visual record and Treeconomy, and I think you'll get a really good sense of the art of the possible. And of course, if people want to get in touch with you, just search for Treeconomy, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. Good. So listen, for now, happy Christmas. Have a restful break. I know you're going to need it after all the work you've put in and all the work you've got ahead of you. Until we speak again, thanks very much. Goodbye.
Thanks, Richard. Bye now.